Hey, good morning. Is it Wednesday today? Wow, Wednesday, the 22nd. I We're having some fun audio and internet things this morning for some odd reason. I'm not really even sure why because everything tests out okay, but I guess that's just the way it is, right? And that's just we you know how it goes. We roll with it. We're just going to do it. So please let me know if I have audio. I'm trying to check here um right now, and it seems like we have audio. Hopefully it's good enough here. Um but can someone send me? I'd appreciate it. This is not a high tech. There's tech involved, but it's not high tech, super expensive stuff. I'm streaming in three places: my personal Facebook, my like Matt Logan and Shiny Brand Facebook, and then also on YouTube right now. So those three places. But somebody shoot me a text or something here. Make sure the audio is good enough. I know I'd appreciate that. Anyway, we're going to set boundaries with sour people. I have, I want to start with this though before we tackle that. Um, I am so enormously thankful for the people that do. They're big things to me, but they say they're small things to them, and it's some really simple things sometimes, but that helps I guess really what I'm doing is a ministry in a sense, and things. And so if there's little things that I don't have to do, and I just appreciate you people very much. Also, it's a little bit um sometimes it's hard to know what to do out when you run into people and things like that. I appreciate when somebody says something. Someone that I know had stopped me in the hallway the other day, and I really appreciated that. Thanks for that. That was fun conversation. And so that's what this is about: just being, communicating together and whatever ways that we're able to do that, I guess. So thank you for that. All of you that do those little things, they're big things to me. So thank you. But um, we're going to do this in two parts. We're going to do this in today and tomorrow, and I want to do it in two parts for a very specific reason. And we're going to look at self, and then we're going to look at others. And one of the most difficult things to do with setting boundaries with sour people is identifying who is a sour people. Um, and we have to self-reflect to do that. One of the things that is the most ugly in today's age is self-reflection, and it doesn't happen very often. We really live in the United States. We really live in a victim mentality framework. I mean, seriously, there's a lot of more victim mentality framework, especially in the last dozen years that I've been really involved in reaching people and communicating with different types of groups. It's been a real eye opener to me at the number of like real the actual mentality is victim. I'm a victim of every circumstance that ever happens, and almost zero responsibility. And I really honestly think, and I'm very forward with this, that um, we have to take more responsibility. And it's a difficult thing, I understand, but we really do. So, first, identify who is sour in your life. I One of the things that you have to do with that self-reflection is, how do you look at things? Do you look at things? There's the obvious half full, half empty, some of those kind of things. But one of the things that is most powerful for me is where are you living? And I don't mean are you living in Texas or Minnesota? I mean, where are you living in your mind? Are you living in the past? Are you staying in a situation that you have no right to stay in. That's a difficult thing to look at as we look at, and I say sour person. I mean, we know negative is really probably the way that we would all say it, but it's hard to identify that kind of negativity in our life. But the very first thing that I do is when I look at a situation, when I look at something that is, um, how am I going to approach this person? How am I going to approach this, even the speech or whatever it may be? I look at it and say, hey, listen, um, like I would say, um, what, okay, I'll say it like this. When I go in and specifically speak on the death of my daughter, I have to look at it like, where are we presently? Am I excited to be here presently? And am I excited for the future? That's another couple ways to break it. If you're not excited for the present and you're not excited for the future, you're living in the past. And I think that when we live in the past, we are trying to hold on and grasp something that can never exist again. And then that way it wears down us mentally, it wears, and then physically, even, and things like that. So that's a couple of the things that I would say on that self-reflection that I think is really important. Who identify who the sour person is. It might be you, it might be me. And that's very important. That's why I'm breaking this up into me or us or you versus is it someone else, and how to look at it and do that. You've probably heard me say that I really, really try very hard to tackle one problem at a time, right? And we all have problems, we all have things that happen, and if you can tackle one problem at a time, that is extremely important in my opinion, and then move on to the next thing and the next problem. And you have to assess those problems obviously on order of what is most urgent and so on. I'm not going to talk about that, but specifically, when there's a problem, are you focused on the problem, the one thing, or are you focused on the half a dozen solutions that you can come up with quickly? And that'll actually help you understand, am I the sour person or the negative person in the situation? Is whether or not you're focused on the problem or you're focused on the multiple ways that you can solve the problem. That's super important. Um, One of the things that I've noticed very specifically, and I've really had to, um, boy, this is a tough one because I've had to really, maybe distance myself is the right word or whatever, from people that I've really, really deeply cared about. And that's not an easy thing to do for anybody. I think that it's extremely important for us to understand that in order for us to do some of these things, that we have to really know who those people are that we have to do, and what, how that helps our mental health, our physical health, and things along those lines. But then mindfulness. um Let me ask you this question, and send me a message or whatever else. I think, I know, I shouldn't say I think, I know that a lot of people have said, well, we don't want to send a public message. And I understand that. That's quite all right. There's a lot of closet Matt Logan, supporters, so to speak, or whatever, of what I'm doing, because you're afraid of your, I mean, over the years I've heard it all. Afraid of your family and your job or whatever. So send me a message. But what, send me that direct message. I will never ever share it with anybody. I've said that for years. That you can trust that completely. I might share some generalities of a message from somebody or whatever, but the mindful practice, what do you do? And um do you take these steps like I try to do? I say try, I'm not always successful at it. But the question here on doing some of these things, would it be helpful if, like, I made something like a worksheet or maybe a small whatever single page, a blog, however you want to say it, maybe on the website in the future for some of these things in these lists. Would that be helpful to you? I'd love to hear that. That's something that might be a good tool for you to use, and actually, easy reference for me to look up too, because I have a lot of these things. I have in my phone alone, I have like 2,200 different notes. And I love my phone because it actually connects to my iPad as well. But you can go in and search those things really easily. So, but anyway, mindful like practices or mindful steps that you might take. You have to like maybe the word meditate is a good word. You have to look at those things and you have to really concentrate on them. You have to quiet everything else around you, get rid of your phone, do some of those kinds of things that will help you engage in your own mind. Like you have to engage your own mind and not have those that loud background stuff or whatever that is extremely distracting. So I take I don't know, at least 15 minutes daily to reflect on some of those things specifically. And then also, I spend 20 to 30 minutes in the Word of God every day as well. I might skip a day here or there because of what emergency might have come up, but I'm pretty specific about those things every single day. And that puts us into our own thoughts. It helps us evaluate our emotions and all those kinds of things. So, this is a very personal subject for me. I'm sharing some very personal things with you on how I do that. I hope that it's helpful to you. I really, really do. Tomorrow, now that we've talked about some of that self reflection, we're going to talk about how to identify some of those things in now other people tomorrow. I think that that's also a very important thing to weigh out and spend some time on. And yes, I am. I got some text yesterday wondering if I was going to get back into some faith-based thought, as we've kind of called it. And yes, I am working on a lot of that. It's been, there's been a lot of stuff going on in my world. I'm building a lot of infrastructure for Shiny Brand, and so that once you can't put a car on a road until the road's built, right? And so I'm really building things, a lot of things from scratch. I'm taking hours and hours and hours of different speeches that I've done and written and trying to consolidate them down into such really helpful tools for you as well. So I appreciate that support, by going to the website, by sending me a message, stuff like that. So we'll see you tomorrow. We're going to talk about how to identify and set boundaries. Then we'll be very specific about that boundary setting for ourselves and for other people then tomorrow morning at 6:30. Thanks for joining me.